Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Megan Nicholson, and I am a mental health therapist practicing out of Orange County, California. And today I thought I'd get on here and give you guys some quick tips on how to take care of your mental health during this COVID-19 pandemic. Well, here we are. It's the end of December, and we are about to enter month 10 of all of this. And I don't know about you guys, but when the pandemic first hit, I personally thought this was going to last 2 weeks, maybe a month tops. And I think all of us quickly realized that this thing is more longer term than we had initially expected. I don't have to sit here and tell you guys how bad things are with COVID-19. I think that these are incredibly challenging times that we're living in, and all of us are simply just doing the best that we can just to get through each day by day that's presented to us. And I think now more than ever, it is really important that we are taking care of our mental health. The reality is, this thing, it's not going to last forever. There's a vaccine that's already being distributed, and I think for me personally, I am hopeful that things are going to improve from here on out. But the reality is, we're still living in the middle of this. And with that being said, here are some quick tips to help take care of your mental health during the rest of this pandemic. The first thing would be to get your news from a source that you trust. I think there is a lot of misinformation out there, and that misinformation can really play into a lot of anxiety and depression that people are experiencing right now. So it is really important that we are gathering our news from an outlet that we trust. The second thing would be to limit our consumption of the news. And while it's important for all of us to stay informed on current events and how they're impacting us, we need to give ourselves breaks from the news. It is not good for anyone's mental health to just sit there and scroll endlessly through the news app on your phone, continuously sitting and just consuming news or listening to it. I think all of us know that most of the headlines are not positive, and so it's really important that we are giving ourselves breaks from the news. The third thing would be to make sure we're spending some time outside. And while it's really important that we are social distancing, following CDC guidelines by not gathering with people outside of our households, those types of guidelines, but it is really important that we are still spending some time outside, and whether that is going for a 10 to 15 minute walk with your dog, with your family, or solo, whatever that may be, doing yoga or stretches outside, it is really important that we are getting our daily dose of vitamin D from the sun. And vitamin D is very helpful for our immune system and for mental health challenges. So make sure you are spending some time outside. The fourth thing would be to just be mindful of the emotions that are coming up for you. As mentioned earlier, these are incredibly challenging times that we are living in. None of us have ever lived through a time like this before. And of course, difficult emotions are going to come up for us. And while those emotions might be difficult for us to kind of sit with and experience, they're not a bad thing. Our emotions are trying to tell us something. So it's important that throughout the day that we take short pauses and pay attention to our emotions and give ourselves little outlets to release those emotions, whether that may be journaling about what you're feeling, whether it's like on an actual notebook or even on the notes app on your phone, listening to a song that matches your mood, anything that you can do to kind of give yourself that quick little release of your emotions. And if we give ourselves little outlets throughout the day to do that, and to just kind of release those emotions aren't going to spill out later down the road. And so it's really important that we are allowing ourselves the space to really feel and experience what we are feeling and kind of release those emotions. That will be very beneficial to your mental health. The fifth thing would be is to implement some self-care into your routine, and whether that looks like getting a quick exercise in, reading your favorite book, watching your favorite Netflix series, whatever that may be. I think for a lot of us, when the pandemic hit, our self-care kind of had to adjust. Self-care might have looked differently for many of us before, whether that would be traveling or going to your favorite local coffee shop to sit down and have your morning coffee, whether things like that were self-care for you. Those things aren't really available to us right now. And so a lot of us, for our self-care routines, they have had to adapt over time. So it's really important that you are finding something throughout the day, like little self-care routines to kind of help take care of ourselves. That is really important for our mental health. The last thing would be to make sure if you need to talk to someone, it's okay if you need extra help right now. I mentioned this earlier. None of us have ever lived through a time like this before. It is incredibly hard for all of us, and you shouldn't have to do it alone. And there is no shame in talking to someone if you need extra help, whether that be a therapist or some other type of mental health professional, whatever that may be. You shouldn't have to do that alone. And with that being said, I hope that all of you and your loved ones are safe and healthy out there. Just know that this is not going to last forever. And again, you aren't alone. Thank you.